Greetings, welcome to self-assessment for problem 2. So in problem 2 of the self-assessment, we need to reference back to problem 1 to get the table of data. So let's go ahead and take a look at problem 2 here. So problem 2 says, let S of t represent the total sales for this company t years after 1980. Use your calculator to determine a regression equation for this data set. Use function notation and round to 4 decimal places as needed. Okay, so our first job, our first goal, is going to be to take this data set and enter that into our calculator. So you're going to have to go in, go grab my calculator here real quick. Get the calculator here, there we are. Okay, and we're going to have to enter all of those data in. So to do that, you go into Stat, go to Edit, and then in L1 and L2, respectfully, you're going to go ahead and enter in all these numbers. Now, I'm not going to make you sit and watch me do that. I've already done it. So we'll go ahead and go from there. So once we've entered in those data, let me go ahead and go out to the full screen so you can see what's going on here. Make it a little bit bigger for you. There we go. And I'm going to show the key press history here. So once we've done that, you're going to go back into Stat. Then you're going to go over to Calc. And then once you get into Calc, you're going to go down to linear regression, which is option number 4. And then you may or may not be delivered a menu-driven system here. If you're on one of the older TIs, it should show on your screen linreg AX plus B. Right after linreg AX plus B, you should type in L1, comma L2. If you're using one of the menu-driven ones, if you don't have L1 and L2 in here currently, you go second and hit the number 1, that'll give you L1. Then go down to the Y list and go second and hit the number 2, and that'll get you L2. Now we'd also like to be able to store our regression equation. Don't worry about the freak list. That's, as I affectionately tell my students, don't touch the freak, okay? So we want to come down here and store that regression equation because we're going to need to plot the scatter plot with the regression equation on it in a later problem. So we'll go ahead and store that right away. So the easiest way to do that is to click on the vars key, which is right here, and then go from vars to yvars, then go from yvars, go to function, which is option number 1, and then grab number 1, which is y1. And notice that'll paste y1 back over there into the regeq. So now when I execute this command, it's actually going to store my regression equation into y1 for me automatically. So we'll go down to Calculate, hit an Enter, and we get our lovely regression equation. Now you may or may not on your calculator have R squared and R turned on. You may or may not have the diagnostics turned on. No worries if you don't, that's okay. You don't need those right now. You'll need those when you take statistics. Okay, so now that we have got our regression equation, just to show you real quick, it did store that regression equation into y1. If you scroll through here, you'll see that this is the exact same regression equation that we just had on the home screen a minute ago. All right, well, let's get the calculator out of the way for a moment because we're going to be asked, let's come back over to our problem here, and we're going to be asked to come in and actually write that regression equation in function notation using S of t. So let's go ahead and do that. So S of t is equal to, let's see, what was our slope again? If we go back over and take a look at the calculator, we'll see that the slope was 0.038. Remember, we're supposed to go out to 4 decimal places. So it's 0.0389 out to 4 places. And that's going to be times t. That was my slope. Plus my intercept is 1.2746, rounding off correctly to 4 places. Okay, so we're going to come back and we're going to talk about this particular regression equation in some of the future problems coming up real soon. So we'll see you back here for number 3.